Today we will learn about very interesting instructional strategy, that is peer mediated instruction, which is known as PMI. It is an approach where peers of target students are trained to provide necessary tutoring in educational, behavioral and or social concerns. In PMI, peers may mediate by modeling appropriate behavior themselves, using prompting procedures to elicit appropriate behavior from target students and reinforcing appropriate behavior when it occurs. The peer tutors are chosen from the target student's classroom, trained to mediate and closely observed during mediation. Many studies have suggested it may be an effective technique for a wide range of students, including those with disabilities. Let us see about the procedure of PMI. Students will choose from target student's classroom to serve as peer tutor. The systematic way of choosing the peers to be involved in the treatment, students were asked to list 3 peers they would like to play with on the playground, 3 peers they would invite to a party and 3 peers they consider to be good friends. Teachers reviewed the top candidates and selected the tutors based on social skills, language skills, school attendance and classroom behavior. The students chosen as peers must be properly coached before peer relationship begins, both to understand the importance of the intervention and the methods which should be used. Instructors may model behaviors to the peer tutors and may role play with the peer tutors, allowing the peer tutors to experience both parts in the peer mediated instruction relationship. Other methods for training could include visual aids, reinforcement for correct implementation, instruction manuals and video instructions. Once the peer mediated instruction relationship begins, the teacher provides ongoing feedback, watching the peer at all times while the intervention is being used. Now let us see about the strengths and limitations of peer mediated instruction. There are advantages of using peer mediated instruction as an intervention strategy. First, there is never shortage of peers to use, especially when implementing an intervention in a school or classroom. Second, students are influenced through observational learning by what they see their peers doing. Third, students are often less intimidated by a peer than they are teacher, which makes instruction and feedback from peers potentially more effective. Fourth, it may not only after short-term intervention benefits but can also strengthen the target student's social ties within the classroom. Finally, research has been done with many different types of learners, including students with learning disabilities, behavioral disorders, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, which show that peer-mediated instruction may be effective for a wide range of students. Application of peer-mediated instruction to inclusive educational program settings. Varying forms of peer-mediated instruction and intervention have been conducted in a great range of settings over the decades. Research has been conducted in educational and non-educational environments with positive outcomes in each. It is important to note that PMI strategies are not restricted or inclusive to education or special education, but have been found to be effective in each as well as inclusive classroom settings. Let us see some of the characteristics of implementing peer-mediated instruction. The first one is expectations for student learning. Teachers should establish high expectation levels. No students are expected to fall below the level of learning needed to be successful at the next level of education. The next one is careful orientation of lessons. Teachers must clearly describe the relationship of current lesson to previous study. Students are reminded of key concepts of skills previously covered. The third one is clear and focused instruction to participants. The fourth element is close teacher monitoring of student progress, frequently formal and informal monitoring of student learning by teachers. Teachers must require students are accountable for their product and learning. The fifth element is reteach. If students show signs of confusion, misinterpretation or misunderstanding, the teacher must be responsible to teach again. The next characteristic is use classmate for learning. Students must pace themselves and should be monitored for task completion. The next element is positive and personal teacher and student interaction. Cooperative learning and peer tutoring strategies are instruction methods of choice in many classrooms as they are noted for preventing and alleviating many social problems related to children, adolescents and young adults. The next one is class-wide peer tutoring. Class-wide peer tutoring is a comprehensive instructional procedure or teaching strategy based on reciprocal peer tutoring and group reinforcement wherein an entire classroom of students is actively engaged in the process of learning and practicing basic academic skills simultaneously in a systematic and fun way. The class-wide peer tutoring program can double or triple the amount of practice time that students typically receive in the basic subject areas as they interact directly with the learning tasks. These academic tasks can include but are not limited to automatic spelling, rapid solution to math facts, reading sight words, fluent reading, learning vocabulary, definitions and content facts as well as completing curriculum. Class-wide peer tutoring used since 1980. It has been proven effective with students from preschool age to high school age levels and has successfully been used with general, special education, limited English proficient students, attention deficit disordered students and students at risk for academic failure regardless of ability levels. The primary goal of class-wide peer tutoring is to facilitate students' achievement and mastery of any classroom content subject matter. It incorporates a stimulus response, error correction, tutoring technique and game format that benefit both the tutor and the tutee. In a class-wide peer tutoring, students are paired with the same aged peer to work together to learn the academic task at hand. In each pair of students, one performs the role of the tutor, that is the teacher role, by providing the content stimulus to the other student. The other students, that is the tutee, performs the learning student role by responding both orally and in writing. During this time, the tutor monitors and assesses the correctness of the responses. Class-wide peer tutoring is based on a basketball game format with the entire classroom being divided into two equal ability teams who are competing to be the winning team by earning the most points during the tutoring process. In each tutoring pair, the corresponding student earns points based on the correctness of the answers. The tutor awards 2 points for every correct answer and as soon as the tutee makes an error in a response, the tutor provides the correct answer for the tutee to model. 1 point is awarded for every assisted answer the tutee correctly practices 3 times in both the oral and written form. Each student performs his or her specific role for a specified amount of time and at the end of the time the students switch roles so that the tutor now becomes the tutee and vice versa, allowing the same amount of time for a new tutee to earn points and be more directly involved with the content in the responding role. At the end of the second round of tutoring, the points earned from all members of the two teams are added together to determine the winning team for the day. The success of the class-wide peer tutoring program lies mainly in its 7 basic operational components. The components are multimodality format, reciprocal and distributed practice, immediate error correction and feedback, game format with partner pairing and competing teams, built-in reinforcement, high mastery levels and measured outcomes. The first element is the multimodality format. It is used in class-wide peer tutoring is the key for learning. The peer tutoring process incorporates each of the various learning modalities or styles by which children learn. The students hear, see, say and write their responses. Tapping into all the learning modalities and each individual student determines his or her strongest modality and use it to his or her advantage to acquire information quickly. With this format, success is easily achieved by using the modality that lurks in learning. The traditional teacher lecture only reaches those students who are auditory learners and the rest are literally lost. The multimodality feature of class-wide peer tutoring provides the format whereby every student can utilize the way that he or she learns best, resulting in more thorough and retainable learning. The next element is reciprocal and distributed practice happens every time the students are paired together to learn information. It is reciprocal in that each student in a pair gets to be both the tutor or teacher as well as the duties or student. The practice with this content is distributed or divided between partners when it is their time to do the responding in the role of the duty. This component provides the active engagement and repeated practice for all students. The third element is immediate error correction and feedback are the correctness of the peer tutor success. Class-wide peer tutoring attempts to get an errorless learning by stopping the tutor as soon as they say or write anything that is incorrect. They are told and or shown the correct answer and are allowed to practice the correct answer 3 times for more solid learning. This feature provides immediate feedback and direct involvement with correct responses. The fourth element is game format with partner pairing and competing learners only heighten students' desire to participate in class-wide peer tutoring. Everyone, especially children, love to play games and win. Class-wide peer tutoring provides a vehicle to do just that in the classroom with help from a friend in effort to be the winning team. That is why the points earned for learning are also powerful in engaging students to strive to be winners every day. It motivates, excites and fights the boredom of traditional classroom instruction. This component provides the increased opportunities to respond. The next component is built-in reinforcement. It occurs when students verbally reinforce one another for good work during tutoring. When the teacher acknowledges exceptional tutoring behaviors with dispensing bonus points during the tutoring sessions, with verbal praise when recording points, and with classroom intrinsic reinforcement for the winning team each day. Reinforcement is also displayed when the entire classroom cheers as they get closer and achieve pre-established classroom totals or point goals. This feature provides an opportunity for students to feel good about themselves and to develop to be engaged in more appropriate social skills. The next component of class-wide peer tutoring is high mastery levels. It can be achieved by every student when the content or subject matter materials are tailor-made to fit the individual deficits of the responding students. This is done by providing more challenging work for higher achieving students, appropriate grade level materials for the average achieving students and fewer items of the grade level items for lower achieving students. This component provides a daily awareness of individual learning progress. The next component is measured outcomes. This will be built right into the class-wide peer tutoring program. There are weekly outcomes that are evidenced in the pre and post assessments that are given at the very beginning of every new unit of material to be taught. Before any tutoring is done and then again at the end of 1 or 2 weeks tutoring session, this will be conducted. Daily outcomes are evidenced in the points earned and the written documents produced during the tutoring sessions by every student. This component provides a solid foundation for monitoring learning and overall academic improvements. To be successful at any grade level and in any content area, class-wide peer tutoring has demonstrated that it is flexible and adaptive, easy to implement, both time and cost effective, and it provides a fun, easy and effective way to teach and learn. The next instruction is peer assisted learning strategy. The peer assisted learning strategy addresses the different learning needs of every student. Peer assisted learning strategy is a powerful method of helping students to move to the next level. With this, reading and math can be learned even more quickly and effectively, and children tend to enjoy these interactive learning strategies. Peer-to-peer instruction and tutoring is a very effective strategy for struggling readers. It is also helpful for students with learning disabilities, students that come from challenging socioeconomic backgrounds, and also for disadvantaged minority students. Peer-assisted learning can definitely be a powerful addition to any curriculum. This cooperative learning technique pairs students together and gives them the role of coach and a player. Hereafter, we will see peer-assisted learning strategy as PAS. Let us see about PAS strategy in the classroom. The first steps towards implementing the PAS strategy in the classroom is to obtain a baseline of all students' strengths and weaknesses. They are then ranked according to their skills and abilities. This information is used to carefully form student pairs. A student with high achievement or skill rated is paired with the student who has low or average score. The pairing is put into place to encourage students to learn from each other through teaching and practicing. Following the principle of reciprocal teaching, each student takes turns being a coach and a player. Coaches are instructed to observe, assist and provide constructive feedback to the players and are even given guidelines to follow. The pairs are regularly shuffled to give students the opportunity to team and interact with others. The pairs technique is typically a 25 to 35-minute activity conducted at least 2 to 4 times a week. It enables students to participate in various activities and allows the teacher to observe, supervise and give individual intervention when needed. When equipped with peer reviewing techniques, students can rate each other on their effectiveness as a coach. Teachers can determine the effectiveness of the strategy by observing the students' behavior and learning behaviors such as students' motivation and participation. Let us move on to different PALS techniques. The PALS strategy is often used for two main subjects including reading and math. Different implementation of these strategies are available for all age groups. These strategies are to enhance the given curriculum and help develop stronger reading and math skills. Let us see about reading with PALS. It focuses on the development of skills such as phonics, decoding, letters, correspondence, reading fluency, comprehension, partner reading, paragraph syncing, prediction relay and retelling. No special materials are required for this and teacher can make use of books and stories available to them. In this program, students read in turns and describe the reading to each other. In order to model correct learning, the higher skilled students always reads first. Shall we see the tasks used in PALS reading? First task is partner reading. The coach reads the passage aloud with the player following along. The role are switched and then the passage is read again. The second task is paragraph shrinking. Students are instructed to read aloud and then summarize and state the main ideas from the passage. This encourages them to display their understanding of the passage. The third task is prediction relay. One partner tries to predict the possible information present in the next half of the text and then reads aloud from the passage to find the information. Now let us see about the 4 important elements that will be included in peer assisted learning strategies reading program. First one is promote a supportive classroom atmosphere. The first and most foundational element of an effective peer assisted learning program is a supportive cooperative atmosphere. Without it, not much else can happen and learning cannot thrive. Encourage students to create and promote a positive classroom attitude with shared goals, good energy and always a sense of teamwork. This kind of atmosphere increases student motivation, makes them feel excited and hopeful and will cut down on student behavioral problems. The next element is start with small supervised groups. Ease your students into peer assisted learning by forming small groups of no more than 5 students and have them work with one another. Allow each of them to take turns being the group leader and make yourself available questions or assistance. Observe the groups and give each student points about how to lead and teach more effectively. From there, experiment with different group configurations. Try grouping children of similar reading levels but also try groups that mix reading levels. From that, you can have stronger students tutor the one that need help in specific areas. The third element is blend reading and writing lessons. Blend reading and writing activities is another great way to help students to improve their reading abilities. The two go hand in hand and there are a number of excellent peer assisted learning strategies that students can practice together. For example, student could read a portion of a book or a story and then write a summary of it. A stronger and a weaker student can do this together and then compare notes. For an added element of fun, student can also illustrate what they have written. The fourth element is include time for independent work. While you will provide most of the reading curriculum, you can also provide time and space for students to select books and materials of their own to bring in during reading class or to read at home and report on in class. Part of your peer-assisted learning strategies, reading sessions could entail pairing or grouping students who are reading the same, that is similar books. That way they can study and compare notes on the text they are reading while feeling the sense of autonomy from being able to choose some of the books they are reading in a class. The next strategy is Pause with Max. Includes a coaching and practice phase where coaching lasts for 10 to 15 minutes. The player works on a task while the coach guides the player by using a question and answer sheet. Next, during the practice phase, both students work independently on practice questions. They can then exchange papers when they are both done and score each other. This session lasts for 5 to 10 minutes. The potential of this program is not limited to improving just these skills. Rather, it can be incorporated within different learning activities and applied across other content areas as well. You would have understand peer-mediated instruction, class-wide peer tutoring and peer-assisted learning strategies. Thank you.